Hello, everyone. I'm Josipa Petrinic, President and CEO of the Canadian Urban Transit Research and Innovation Consortium, and welcome to all of our participants back for day 2 of our first annual Smart Rail Technology Conference, which has brought together pretty much the who's who in rail innovation across Canada and Europe and the United States. So we're delighted to kick off today's keynote series with Minister Caroline Mulroney, who really doesn't need much of an introduction because I think most of us know her not just from the news, but from a whole host of announcements made most recently. But to give a little bit of a background for those of you who aren't Canadians on the line, Ms. Mulroney was first elected as the Member of Provincial Parliament for York Simcoe in 2018. Before entering politics, she had a highly successful career in the private sector, spanning business and law, and running a number of charity activities for the homeless and at-risk women, something that is certainly near and dear to QTRIC with our gender parity policy that we spoke about this morning in our kickoff speech. Minister Mulroney has previously served as Vice President of Bloomberg Sen Investment Partners. And prior to that, as I said, she had an active career in corporate finance, which I think just means she brings with her a host of experience, knowledge from the private industry that's really going to help this revolutionary transformation in transportation, including in transit and rail. And as many of you will know, there's been a series of announcements made by the government, spearheaded by Minister Mulroney in her role at the Ministry of Transportation, around community transit and around public transit investments, including in the rail sector in Ontario. And it sparked a fire, I think, under a lot of us in terms of thinking about what this government can help us achieve that has been challenging to achieve in the country's largest province, with one of the cities, well, the biggest city that is driving really a core component of the GDP of the entire nation, that being Toronto and the surrounding areas. So with that, and no further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Minister Mulroney here to our national conference. Welcome, Minister Mulroney, and thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. Minister Mulroney, I'm just going to have to interrupt because we can't hear you, but we'll let you just turn on your microphone there for one moment. There we go. I think
Better.
That was fantastic. Okay, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Petrunic, for your very kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. It's a real pleasure to join you all today for QTRIC's first National Smart Rail Conference. I am so thrilled to be here with you. Building transportation infrastructure is no easy feat. It takes collaboration with all levels of government, stakeholders, the private sector, and more. And this has become crystal clear to me in my time as Minister of Transportation. The last 8 months have exposed areas where we need to do better. There's no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic has turned all of our lives upside down. But for those who are already struggling, the burden has been even heavier. This outbreak has pushed families, communities, and businesses into uncharted territory. But our government is listening and working hard on behalf of Ontarians to support our recovery. As we work to address the current challenges, it's critical that we also prepare for tomorrow. Nous devons à ces hommes et à ces femmes qui travaillent fort de relever non seulement les défis auxquels nous sommes confrontés aujourd'hui, mais aussi de nous assurer que nous nous préparons à tout ce que l'avenir nous réserve. So as we look to the future, we have an opportunity to think differently and build smarter when it comes to transportation and the economy. The pre-pandemic status quo just won't work. We must push to innovate and invest in a smart infrastructure-based approach that bolsters our transit and transportation networks, setting the right conditions for growth. In a recent piece in Policy Options magazine, the economist Jim Stanford wrote that, and I quote, "Great crises are frightening and dangerous, but a crisis can also be an opportunity. The capacity of Canadians to work, produce, and care for each other will survive this pandemic. All we need is leadership and purchasing power to put those capacities to full use. Investing in public service, infrastructure, and reconstruction will make our economy stronger and more resilient," unquote. I couldn't agree more. Our government sees public transit and rail as a critical piece of this. The COVID-19 pandemic has once again shown us all just how essential public transit is. From the onset of the outbreak, transit agencies across the province worked hard to ensure that frontline workers were able to get from work, home, get to and from the front lines and to home to their families safely. And I am so grateful for that. Yet at the same time, the province's public transit systems have experienced some of the most pronounced impacts of this pandemic. I speak regularly with municipal transit partners and stakeholders, and have been over the course of the year. What I've heard is staggering. Unprecedented ridership declines, resulting in significant drops in fare box revenues, have fueled calls for provincial and federal help. We know that transit is critical to our future prosperity, and ensuring the health and safety of the people of Ontario will always be a top priority. Premier Ford negotiated the historic Safe Restart Agreement with the federal government. This partnership will see up to $2 billion provided to Ontario's 110 municipal transit systems. In the first phase of this agreement, we provided over $660 million for immediate relief to cover costs due to COVID-19. Dans le cadre de l'accord historique sur la relance sécuritaire, nous nous sommes associés au gouvernement fédéral pour fournir jusqu'à 2 milliards de dollars aux 110 réseaux de transports municipaux de l'Ontario. Dans la première phase de cet accord, nous avons fourni plus de 660 millions de dollars pour l'aide immédiate afin de couvrir les coûts dus à la COVID-19. This funding will help ensure the continuity of transit services so that people can get where they need to go when they need to get there. As we shift our focus to Ontario's long-term economic recovery, our government is setting the conditions so that all families and businesses can thrive. The Ontario Jobs and Recovery Committee began working in June on just that. But we must lay the groundwork to ensure infrastructure projects get off the ground faster. We simply cannot afford delay. Investing in infrastructure projects, especially ones that expand our rail capacity and support improved frequency, will be crucial to creating good jobs, connecting more communities, and supporting economic growth across the province. L'investissement dans les projets d'infrastructure, en particulier ceux qui augmentent notre capacité ferroviaire et soutiennent l'amélioration de la fréquence, sera crucial pour créer de bons emplois, mieux relier les communautés et soutenir la croissance économique à travers la province. It also means less time commuting and reducing congestion, which I'm sure is appealing to everyone here. According to the C.D. Howe Institute, the GTA loses $11 billion in productivity each year as a result of gridlock. And according to the Toronto Region Board of Trade's own estimate, gridlock adds $400 million to the cost of goods in our region. Those are very concerning figures. The other concern that cannot be lost in the economic impacts is the overall impact on quality of life. All of us sit in traffic. None of us are spared, and none of us like it. Sometimes you're able to plan for it and build it into your routine. My predecessor, Julia Monroe, used her time traveling the 404 between York Simcoe and Queen's Park to call her sister. Even if you can make some use of the time, no one wants to spend a second longer getting from A to B than they need to. It's stressful and it lowers our quality of life. That's why our government continues to make public transit a priority. By 2041, Ontario's population is expected to grow by about 30%, and our infrastructure needs to grow with it. Modernizing our infrastructure network, especially improving our rail network, will help meet our growing population's needs and strengthen our economy. This conference's theme is Moving Canada Forward, and that's precisely what our government's plan will do. Nearly half of our government's 10-year, $142.9 billion infrastructure plan is for public transit. That's $66 billion to bring improved service to communities, address congestion, and provide more sustainable, convenient, and affordable travel options for millions. Le plan d'infrastructure de 142,9 milliards de dollars sur 10 ans de notre gouvernement comprend plus de 66 milliards de dollars pour les transports en commun, afin d'améliorer le service aux collectivités, de remédier à la congestion et d'offrir à des millions de personnes des options de déplacement plus durables, pratiques et abordables. Many of these projects are nationally significant. Consider our historic $28.5 billion subway transit expansion plan for the GTA. It will create up to tens of thousands of jobs annually in the construction and the supply chain industries over the course of the construction period. The Ontario line alone is expected to support over 4,700 jobs per year between 2020 and 2030, with continued employment after 2030 for the operations and maintenance of the line. Des projets comme notre nouveau plan de 28,5 milliards de dollars pour le métro de la région du Grand Toronto transformeront le réseau de métro de la région en un réseau de transport rapide, moderne et intégré et devraient soutenir des dizaines de milliers d'emplois pendant la construction des 4 lignes. Our smart, targeted investments will kickstart our economy so that we can reap the economic benefits sooner while enhancing critical public services for future generations. By 2041, an estimated 9 million people will call the GTA home. And this is a good thing, but make no mistake, our regional transit system must keep up. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Metrolinx ran 1,500 weekly trips along the GO Rail network. When our work is complete, Metrolinx will be running over 6,000 weekly trips through our GO Rail expansion program and provide two-way, all-day service with trains every 15 minutes on core segments of the network. By using new train technology that is up to 29% faster, with 60% lower operating costs per kilometer along 5 GO Rail lines, Metrolinx will be able to nearly double annual ridership by 2055. We will also improve stations, lay new tracks, build new facilities, and upgrade existing infrastructure along the way. The goal of GO Rail service has always been to provide an affordable and convenient option for people. That's why we're quickly working to enhance and improve the frequency of the network. Our government is committed to working closely with municipalities, Indigenous communities, transportation agencies, industry, and businesses to improve rail services across Ontario. As part of our government's plan for passenger rail services in the north, we sought input and feedback from the public on transportation opportunities along the rail corridor between Toronto, North Bay, and Cochrane, and Timmins. Between October 23rd and November 20th, we invited people in Northern Ontario to complete the survey to help us better understand the needs along the Northeastern Rail Corridor. The needs of Northern Ontario are incredibly unique, which is why this survey is so important. Ontario cannot succeed unless its northern communities succeed with it. And I think we can all agree that we've reached a decisive moment in the history of transportation in Ontario. I strongly believe that we must continue to innovate so we can approach our projects with the best ideas at the best price for taxpayers. In the future, transportation and mobility must be more convenient, more integrated, and more connected than ever before. Ontario needs to be ready. One of the first things our government did after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic was establishing a ministerial advisory council. We know that bringing together key industry stakeholders from all regions would be critical in paving the way forward, and this has certainly been the case. L'une des premières choses que notre gouvernement a faites après l'apparition de la COVID-19 a été de mettre en place des conseils consultatifs ministériels, réunissant les principales parties prenantes de l'industrie provenant de toutes les régions pour nous conseiller sur les défis auxquels elles étaient confrontées et obtenir leurs avis sur la reprise et la voie à suivre. And at those meetings, we heard about the importance of committing to exploring and removing any barriers in adopting new technologies in the transportation sector. Our government shares that sentiment. For example, as part of our Go Rail expansion program, we are looking to the private sector to propose innovative approaches to meet future Go Transit rail service levels, including technologies that could electrify core segments of the network, such as hydrogen fuel cells. There are countless other new and emerging technologies set to disrupt further the way people get around. Take Hyperloop and big data in rail. I know there will be more discussion on these topics throughout this conference. These revolutionary new technologies have the potential to change passenger and freight transportation around the world. They will revolutionize traffic management, road safety, and how we collect, manage, and share data. It's exciting to see new technologies being explored by governments and businesses across the globe who are not afraid to push the envelope. This will improve our transportation system in ways we never thought possible. And our government is committed to being a leader in progress, not only to keep people moving, but to create jobs and spur economic growth here in our province. The reality of our current situation is that we will be facing this pandemic for some time. But as we take on any future waves of this virus, our government is setting the conditions for the economic renewal that will follow. That's why we're taking steps to embrace new technologies as part of our Made in Ontario plan for growth, renewal, and economic recovery. By investing in infrastructure that improves rail and transit service, we can connect communities in every region and make life easier for the people of Ontario. En investissant dans des infrastructures qui amélioreront les services de transport ferroviaire et de transport en commun, nous pouvons relier les communautés de toutes les régions et faciliter la vie des habitants de l'Ontario. Our plan will drive our economic recovery, bring jobs and investment to the province, and deliver exciting new choices across our transportation network. It will address congestion and reduce wait times, improving the quality of life for all Ontarians. Thank you again for the opportunity to join you here today. Merci encore de m'avoir donné l'occasion de me joindre à vous aujourd'hui. And I wish you all a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Mulroney. We truly appreciate your time. And I think a lot of folks are looking quite keenly at the investments that are happening right now by the Ontario government in the rail sector, in the public transit sector, and now the community transit sector. It's overdue, definitely, for a growing province of this nature, as you've noted. It's certainly overdue for a growing city and all of the surrounding cities around Toronto. And we have a great sense that with your leadership, we'll be able to integrate a lot of those technologies that we've been talking about, from hydrogen to big data to community integration. So we look forward to working with you and your team. We know you're pressed for time today, so we won't hammer you with a bunch of questions, but hopefully we can have you back at our next conference in March around zero emissions transit technology and have a little bit more time to have a dialogue with you. We want to thank you for your time again, and thank you to your team for all of your hard work. Have a good day and stay safe.
Thank you. Have a great day.